Hey class, this is going to be our independent assignment for either Monday or Tuesday. It's like the same assignment that we're going to do live on Monday and Tuesday, but it's the at-home version. What we're going to do is look through a slideshow, and as we look through the slideshow, we are going to fill out this graphic organizer. Okay, so in our live class, we are going to be talking about the Romans' impact on our modern culture and our modern world today. So in this independent session, we're going to go over Greece's impact up to that has affected us to the modern day. Remember that Greece and Rome are foundational cultures, that a lot of our culture and the way we run government and the way we see the world and our perspective on morality, a lot of that comes from these foundational cultures like the Romans and the Greeks. You're going to have a test on Friday based on both of those, compare and contrast. It's going to be a 8-question multiple choice test. So that's why we're starting this lesson, and we're going to do more review of these two different foundational cultures throughout the week. So let's get to it. Our essential question is, what were the important contributions of Greece to the modern world? So we are going to look at that question. We're going to think about that question as we go through this slideshow. So in your other tab, you should have your Greek achievements. Okay. So again, as I'm reading through this slideshow, you are going to put the notes of each of the categories in the notes section, okay, in the summary section as I'm reading. Then you are going to answer the question that goes with each of the sections in this box right here. This is called the activity, the station activity. Okay, because this is really a station activity that we do in person, but we're adapting it to online learning. So again, notes go in this box, and your question answer goes in the right box. Okay, so for the first thing we're going to go over is Greece, their achievements. Okay, so you guys could pause this video at any time and copy down these notes. Just make sure we don't copy and paste. We're typing everything out. You don't have to type out exactly what I wrote. You could shorthand it and just do it the way that makes sense to you. So, Greek achievements. The ancient Greeks made contributions in many fields of learning and developed new innovations because, first of all, the Greeks emphasized logic and reason and the pursuit of knowledge. Second of all, many Greeks could afford to support academies and centers of learning. And third of all, Greece's location along the Mediterranean Sea allowed for trade, the spread of diverse ideas, and the ability to build. Okay, so some major things there, guys. The big thing that I want you to remember about Greeks is that they're the scholars of our foundational culture. The scholarship meant everything to them. They began philosophy there. They began the ideas of what is God, who is God, is there a God. These are the first people to start questioning those things. So let's go over some of their biggest impacts on our modern world. The first one that I want to talk about is Greek democracy. Okay, now Greece is the foundation for all of our democratic republics, and it began in one of the centers of Greek society because Greek was city states. It wasn't like one whole country, and that city state we're talking about is Athens. Okay, they developed direct democracy. Now, again, direct democracy are when citizens all have the same amount of power to vote on policies and laws. Athenian citizens participate in government decisions by voting. And again, all of them had equal voting power. A council would propose laws, and then all male citizens over 18 years old that wanted to vote could vote, and their family couldn't be slaves. Their parents also had to be free citizens as well. The approved ideas would then become laws. Okay, that's an example of a direct democracy. So right now, I want you guys to answer number one. What could be a fair way to become a citizen in a direct democracy? Because again, we saw that Greece's citizens were only males. They had to be 18 years of age, and their parents couldn't be slaves. So what should be a requirement now to be a citizen of a democratic republic? Go ahead and pause the video and answer that question. Our next major impact from the Greeks is their mathematics. Ancient Greek mathematicians developed many important concepts that are still used today. Science used pi to find circumference of circles. One famous mathematician, Euclid, developed proofs that became the basis for modern geometry. Pythagoras tried to explain everything in his mathematical terms. He created a theorem about relationships of sides of the right triangle that is used all over the world, and this is called the Pythagorean theorem. And you should have done the Pythagorean theorem in your math class before. So for your answer for your Greek question, you are going to try to solve for C. So you're going to have to decide what is 3 squared plus 6 squared to find what c is. Try your best at this. If you guys mess it up, it's all good. Grading this one on effort. If you get the wrong answer, it's okay. So go ahead, pause the video and try this question. Our next important impact was the Greek philosopher. Philosophy means literally love of wisdom. And Greek philosophers, they argued for leaders to be philosopher kings, not kings or leaders based on their birth or about their nobility or how much money they might have. It's strictly based on their merit. Are they wise, and do they have a political savvy to them? Aristotle created the basis for the scientific method as well. And that is every truth is followed by other logical truths as well. So that's the idea behind the scientific method. The big one that you guys are probably going to be tested on, philosopher kings. So make sure you understand the Greeks came up with philosopher kings, and they are wise rulers based on merit. So your question is, you have 2 questions. First one is, do you think that questioning is a good way of learning? And 2, is there such thing as too many questions? Why or why not? You could read this little excerpt about Socrates, who was also a Greek philosopher, and maybe his quote right down here might help you answer those questions. So go ahead and pause the video and do that now. Another major impact on the modern world was the Greek arts. Okay, they began carving life-size statues very early on. Greek sculptures was innovated, and they showed what we call realism and human movement. Greek artists try to show the ideal human beauty, which often was represented in nude in sculptures. So all those naked statues that you see, those are from the Greeks, and that is because their artwork was based on realism. So for your question, for Greek art, you got 2 of them. Why do you think that these and other Greek statues are considered to be works of art? And 2, what makes them different from other art that you have seen? The last Greek achievement that has impacted the modern world is their medicine. Hippocrates is called the father of modern medicine because he began a school that introduced new medical teachings and practices. Hippocrates believed that disease was caused by natural events, but not by the gods, which was a big deal at this time because the Greeks were polytheistic. The Greeks developed the Hippocratic Oath, which was a pledge that doctors take that emphasizes doctors' responsibility for their patients, and they still do that Hippocratic Oath to this day. So answer 3 questions on Greek medicine. Number 1, what part of the excerpt from the Hippocratic Oath stands out the most to you? So you're going to have to read it. It's at the bottom here. 2, what are doctors promising? And 3, summarize a quote in a short phrase. So you're going to have to summarize that quote in your own words. Now, to the final part of our assignment for your independent on Monday, Tuesday, you guys are going to answer 2 questions. Please have each question at least 2 to 4 sentences long. Here's the response. Question number 1 asks, which Greek achievement do you think is the most important and why? Question number 2 asks, which Greek achievement do you think is least important and why? You can look at this graphic organizer. It has a little bit more achievements than what we discussed. But again, read through it. It might help you do this assignment. You guys respond to these questions on the handout that you've been taking these notes and answering the questions on. So again, you've been taking the notes in this section. You've been answering the questions that follow the notes in these sections. And at the bottom, you can answer the questions right beneath. Make sure you guys put the margins on the left side, please. Any questions, jump in our Google Meet. I'm here waiting for you.